Cardinal, you are here in Rome to commemorate the Easter bombing attacks in your country 3 years ago. Can you tell me a little bit about this event on the 25th?
What we are going to do on the 25th is a commemoration ceremony of the dead and the wounded in the Easter Sunday bomb attacks that were carried out in Sri Lanka on the 21st of April 2019. In these attacks, 269 people were killed and more than 500 people were injured, some of them injured for life. These attacks were carried out in an atmosphere of Islamic fanaticism, but eventually elements of testimony emerged that these attacks had something more than just an Islamic connotation.
Can you tell me more about that, Cardinal?
Yeah, well, that is because there are emerging evidence to the effect that the government of that time, especially the intelligence wing of the military, had contacts with this group of terror people who carried out these attacks. And even though we insisted so many times that those contacts be investigated, nothing has happened. In fact, one of the bombers was being constantly followed by the Directorate of Military Intelligence. So we expected the government to investigate that angle, but nothing has happened. At the same time, the government has not investigated how the attackers got hold of explosives and bomb-making material and also other harmful arms into their hands, because there are suspicions that certain powerful groups, which are not necessarily Islamic, had contacts with these people and that they probably supplied these materials to them. So we became suspicious of this, and also after the Presidential Commission of Inquiry issued its report, the present government hesitated to carry out the recommendations, or chose to carry out only those recommendations that refer to the Islamic community, and tried to hide some of the recommendations which would, if they are further investigated, would reveal other angles of these attacks. Therefore, the people in Sri Lanka, and especially the Catholic community, has felt defrauded by the present regime. And in one of the documents issued by the Parliamentary Select Committee, report executive summary mentions about the possibility of something more than simply an Islamic attack. Therefore, we are highly suspicious of these things, and we want a further investigation to be done. Until that is done, the people who are injured and who have lost their loved ones are not satisfied about what is happening, that they will get justice. And also, the people in Sri Lanka as a whole have very high amount of suspicion about the authorship of these attacks, whether they had a political motive. The reluctance of the part of the present government to carry out the investigations in a transparent manner and to allow the investigators to look into all aspects of the case has become a point of contention between the government and the people. Therefore, lots of rumors are floating around the place that these attacks were carried out for a political aim. So we are not satisfied about the investigations and how they are proceeding and how they are implementing the recommendations, and therefore our protest campaign intensified in the last 2 years.
Yes, Cardinal, we've been watching the situation in Sri Lanka in these past days and weeks, and we've seen more and more protests in the streets against this government that promised justice and has not given justice to the victims. What are your hopes now as Sri Lanka faces a crucial moment?
The reasons for this kind of popular uprising that is happening in Sri Lanka right now is not necessarily only the Easter Sunday attack and the lack of justice for it, but also due to a highly inefficient management of the country, of its economy, and wrong policies that have been, policy decisions that have been made by the government, which had led to a total collapse of the national economy. And therefore, there is a broad-based reaction against the government for making the situation so bad. Because right now in Sri Lanka, there is a total economic collapse. And people are not able to make ends meet in their daily budget because of the lack of employment, lack of income, then the rising prices of items, and sometimes scarcity of items, like the difficulty in obtaining fuel for the maintenance of life, as well as the lack of electricity, lack of gas, various other items for daily sustenance. So therefore, there is a general feeling of total dissatisfaction, and also that the country has collapsed and it is a failed state. Therefore, the people want the government to leave and allow either an election to take place so that a new government can be appointed, or an interim arrangement to be made, as it has been the demand of the venerable chief monks in Sri Lanka.
In your opinion, are there people in the opposition perhaps who would be able to overturn this situation and restore a different path for the country?
There is a total breakdown of trust in the entire political system in Sri Lanka, including even the opposition. Therefore, there is a vacuum, and to that vacuum, now they have stepped in. The chief religious leaders of the country, the Buddhist leaders, the Mahanayaka Theras, and they have also associated us into that program, and we hope that we will be able to sustain this country and make it rework once again. So it has become the role of the religious leaders to assist the people to get out of this situation.
Is there a good working relationship between yourselves and these Buddhist leaders?
Yes, very much. I have always sustained that Buddhism is a necessary ingredient in the life of the people and our history, and we must respect that. There are also other religions like Hindus and Muslims. So along with the Buddhists, Hindus, Muslims, we Christians can work together and thinking about the country as a whole, not just only our people, we can try to work out a solution to this present crisis.
Thank you very, very much, Cardinal. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Only I make appeal to the international community to bring pressure on our government not to make castles in the air without any reality and be out of touch with the common life of our people, that they should realize that they have failed in their efforts to bring prosperity and happiness to our people, and also that they have failed in ensuring justice to many communities that have been affected by all kinds of sad situations in the past. So we want the international community to insist that before giving any aid to Sri Lanka, that the government realize that they have to change the way things have been done.